This is a test. If anyone can hear me, I hope you can.
We good to go?
Looks like we're live. 720p. We're good enough. Let's do it. Let's start.
Alrighty. So howdy guys, gals, and non-binary pals. My name is Crinidix.
And I'm Stoic, and this is the community chat show. Just a few minutes late.
Your one-stop shop for all the latest in the CCS community.
And with us today is Kelledorn, Flex for Can't Counterpick Stupid, otherwise known as CCS1. Kelledorn, welcome to the show.
Thanks for the invitation, guys. I really appreciate the invite to be here.
Yeah, we're happy to have you. And we'll just start the same way we always do. Tell us about yourself.
All right. Like you said, I'm the flex player for CCS1. I play a little bit of everything. I sub in as healer when needed. Mostly I play mages, wave clear. Other than that, I have a little bit of an interesting history as far as MOBAs and whatnot, but I prior to joining CCS, I was the coach for the Heroes of the Dorm team for my local college. Um, so yeah,
And that's USU, right?
yes, that is Utah State University, the northern end of Utah.
I don't think we have any Aggies in the chat, but if you're out there, put some A's in the chat. Excellent. And I mean, that's like amazing. So, how did you get involved with? Like, did you play? Were you a big HOTS person before getting involved in USU?
So yes, it's kind of a longer story, but I guess that's what this is about, right? Um, I I played HOTS through beta, and I was working full time and trying to slip in some school during that time. And so I was slipping in some college courses, and I thought, hey, let's try if is there a Heroes of the Dorm team for USU? Turns out there was being organized, and so I tried out, and there were certain restrictions for uh, how many credit hours and stuff you had to take to qualify to play, but not to qualify to coach. So I wasn't taking enough credit hours to play, but I had enough to coach the team. So
Is that stuff that like Blizzard? Are those like things that Blizzard said, like X number of hours to play, X number of hours to coach, or is that something that USU decided?
Blizzard had like you needed to be a full-time student in order to play, to make sure that it was a level playing field for everyone. I was taking 9 credit hours while working full-time, so I didn't qualify for the 12 credit hours required to play on the team. I think I had 12 credit hours when I applied, but I was planning on dropping one course. So,
Well, awesome. I mean, that's
yeah,
awesome.
yeah. But through the USU team, I met RTB, who you guys may or may not have heard of from other interviewees. RTB is the nephew of Valcomer and Wits End, and RTB extended me an invitation to come play with CCS, and that was kind of how I met these guys.
So,
That's awesome.
if you don't mind me asking, were they paying you?
No,
Oh, dang it.
no,
I was going to be like, you might be the first actual professional we've talked to on the show.
no, they weren't paying me at all. There was rewards for if you made it high enough up into Heroes of the Dorm for tuition reimbursement, but it was completely voluntary. So
So how far into your HOTS journey would you say this was? Like you said, you started playing in beta. When did the Heroes of the Dorm stuff kind of come around?
I wasn't in school. I wasn't taking schooling during the early Heroes of the Dorm leagues. So the very last season of Heroes of the Dorm was we didn't know it was going to be the last season, but that was the one that our team was assembled and applied into playing. So
Okay.
same kind of era as uh, HGC falling off. So Heroes of the Dorm died with it.
And did you watch much HGC when you were doing coaching stuff?
Yeah, I like to watch HGC. I probably wasn't as good of a coach as my team thought I was, but I tried to learn and help advise people, work through some roadblocks for some of our players. Madathi, who is on CCS now, was one of our teammates at the USU Heroes of the Dorm. Um, yeah.
So
That's pretty cool.
yeah, I'm fascinated in this. Like, what did? Because I want to dive really deep into this because this is fascinating. We've heard some of Michaelin's story a couple weeks ago about how he was a player here, but this idea of a coach for Heroes of the Dorm we haven't heard about. But what brought you there? Like, did you play a bunch of League before this? Were you like playing the original Dota? Like, what brought you to the MOBA scene to be like, oh, I want to play at the high level. Or I want to be a coach.
Oh yeah. I played League of Legends when it very first. I didn't play the original Dota mod for, I believe it was Warcraft 3, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I played League of Legends in beta, and for a long time, I really liked League of Legends when it was the only real option. Then I took a break from that game, with real life family stuff, and I'm a married man. I have family now. All this other stuff. I played Dota 2 for probably a good solid 2 or 3 years before beta of Heroes of the Storm, and so I was playing Dota 2 kind of warm up the MOBA chops, and then I've played Heroes of the Storm since. I've never gone back to the other ones.
You've never gone back. So was there something like was there one particular aspect of Heroes of the Storm that kind of made you stick around, or was it like the universe, or
You know, I really like the team play aspect. I like that it isn't built around one player becoming so powerful and just carrying everyone else. And then I remember on Dota, I would play a support. I'd play like Witch Doctor, and I was expected to sit there and not do anything. Um, I was not. You're not supposed to collect gold because the gold's more important on your assassins, your other players. Um, and Heroes of the Storm is the one where whatever you do benefits everyone. You're not going to power level one character to just destroy the other team.
Well, I'm like I've played maybe 5 games of League of Legends. So like that the idea of that is so lost on me. I mean, I know this is Dota that you were talking about, but that's crazy. What a different experience.
And League of Legends was the same way. You'd have your campers. You'd have to get your last hits to get your gold. Um, and it was all about how quickly you could get your gear, how quickly you could power up, and then you'd have those playmakers that would come in and do something. You know, um, and Heroes of the Storm, it was a community effort. It wasn't all built around trying to power level one character. I can specifically remember one time on Dota that I got called away. My wife was having kind of a mild emergency. I was playing one of those power heroes. I got called away for 10 minutes. I came back and they were in our base, but I was power leveled so much with that character that, I'd wiped them out and then I'd chase them across the map and stuff like that. It's
Oh my
completely
gosh.
ridiculous. It was a bloodlust character. I can't remember. He was like, I don't remember the character's name, but he like sensed blood, and so when a hero was weak, he could chase him down. He got bonus speed. He did more damage. All this stuff.
Oh yeah, Kira. I know that character.
in HOTS, yes, but in the uh, in the Dota one, it was one of those like I stepped away from 10 minutes. They were about to win, and the character I was playing just dominated them. It's not the same type of experience that HOTS gives.
Just the time frame of that, like 10 minutes. That's a whole HOTS game.
Yeah, sometimes you get those 10-minute games, and sometimes you get those 35-minute games that feel like forever.
Yeah.
So would it be fair then to say that like you feel like HOTS of the big three, so to speak, is kind of more balanced or less maybe snowbally?
HOTS has its own snowbally effects. I would say HOTS is the one that it's not over till it's over. And I've, played thousands of games, and I can tell you I've come back from some pretty far behind, uh, trailing the game so hard that you're frustrated. But HOTS is that one. It's the comeback game. You could be down 39 shots in Towers of Doom, and you can still win, hypothetically. But um,
So I'm curious in this broad, like, so if HOTS is the best of the MOBAs, um, what makes it better than all the other video games? Like I was thinking about this recently. I picked up, I've been playing Cyberpunk off and on since it came out, and I played like an hour of it the other day, and I was like, man, I just want to be playing HOTS. So for you though, like, what is it that draws you to, like, of all the genres you choose MOBA, and then the MOBAs you choose HOTS, right? But like, what draws you to the MOBA?
I it's a unique experience every game. Even if you're playing with four friends on a team, you're playing against other people. You're playing against five other people you've played before. They have new strats. You have new strats. You're playing a different map. You're playing a different hero. Um, it's not the same old just um, grind. Sometimes some of those games are just a grind. I play other games. I have PlayStation 4 and a Switch and stuff, and I play Among Us with my son. But HOTS is that game that it's different. It's different every time, and I like that.
Yeah, for sure. It's interesting how, um, looking back. I mean, I haven't been playing nearly as long as you have, as far as like in the competitive scene, but even just in the past like half a year or so, well, maybe more like a past year or so. There was once upon a time where heroes like Cassia and Tassadar were never really picked, right? But like Blizzard has done a pretty good job, I think, of kind of shifting up the meta. In all the time that you've been playing, what do you think is like? Do you have a favorite kind of meta or state of the game?
I like where we are right now. I think it seems to flex all the time, and people tend to get salty if there's a rework. Oh, I don't like the Gazla rework. I don't like the TAS rework. People tend to get salty on forums when there's a new hero like Kira. Oh, Kira's not from one of our favorite games. Oh, I don't like Hogger. What a waste of space. But for me, they're all great. I love each and every one of them. I like experimenting with a new hero, and when it gets reworked. I love reworked Tassadar. He's probably one of my favorites. So Tassadar is really good.
He certainly is. Um, you mentioned at the beginning you called yourself a wave clear mage player, and that's interesting. I know that CCS 1 has this paradigm of there's two types of assassins. It's not auto and spell damage. It's not melee and ranged. In CCS 1, it's PvP and PvE. Like, for the viewers who aren't super like familiar with that, can you talk a little bit about that paradigm?
Yeah, so I know I'm not sure where they got it. I want to say it was not Paradox, but my team is in chat. They can correct me if I'm wrong. That the idea of, auto attack and mage don't really sync up to the roles as much. You can have let's say, a Jaina who can clear waves, she can do camp, she can do all that stuff. She can even do pretty good damage to a hero. But a Li Ming, on the other hand, mage has almost no wave clear. You're going to throw an orb and get half the wave, maybe. Um, so in that, uh, John Knight, all been the same. John Knight was the one that our coach that suggested this. So we have the concept of PvE and PvP. There's overlap. Jaina can destroy a single target real quick. But the idea is that we plan on at least one hero to be able to deal with waves, to be able to deal with camps, especially depending on the map. If you're on a Braxis holdout, you need to be able to clear the Zerg wave. You need that kind of powerhouse there. Um,
In your
so,
mind, Tassadar, is he a PvP or PvE mage?
you know, I don't want to reveal too much. He can be both.
Yeah.
I think he's a middle ground hero. I'd like to say that he's it. It depends on how you build him, and not even that much, because as a wave's coming in lined up, a Q hits the entire wave. You throw it out, you hit the entire wave, then you Psystorm them. And you can clear the wave.
Mm-hmm.
We played against another team the other day, and I built Tastar auto attack. They trusted me, um, and an auto attack Tastar really wrecks the other team in certain circumstances. He's great wave clear. He can do all the camp solo, um, but Tastar can kind of fall into those middle ground roles too. I would say he's primarily going to be called a wave clear hero, but he's kind of flexible like me.
Interesting. You mentioned Cassia earlier, and I think Cassia's not really a wave clear hero. What about someone like Chromie, who's pretty popular? Is she PvP or PvE?
I think that she's more PvP personally. Um, I know my team would argue that her W has a longer cooldown. It can do a lot of damage to a wave, but it's not like she's meant to sandblast someone in the face, pocket sand, Dale, Gribble, cha-cha.
Hmm.
But I think I would play Chrome. I don't play Chromie, but I would classify her more as a PvP, as a let's pick off someone, let's get the kill. Um,
Interesting. So it kind of sounds like you, when I say you, like kind of CCS1 in like overall, have like a sort of analytical approach to um, like weighing heroes for their strengths and weaknesses. How much of that kind of influences your draft versus people liking to play a specific hero?
that is a good question. I think that a lot of us, I should say, some of us are very flexible in their picks. Some people like their picks. Some people like to pick last. We've had this discussion as a team lately, where like people just need to show picks. Um, we need to not hold off half of our draft until the very end. Um, with Often with our picks, Valkymer, when we're playing in NGS, Valkymer scouted the other team. We plan around what we can ban, what we can steal from the team, what we're going to synergize with. Um, we are a very analytical team in that aspect. Like, we try to plan things out, but it varies from player to player. Players have their heroes that they want to pick, and we have players that just want to wait till the last second and decide then. So
Which are you?
I will play whatever the hell my team wants. There's my first swear word.
There's your first. So, and are you a shower? Or are you just gonna wait to say, "Oh, Val, tell me what you want"? Or are you gonna say, "Against this team on this map, put me on task"?
I will show sometimes. Often I'm not gonna be stuck in what I want either. I'll be like, do you want me? What do you want me on? Do you want me to go play an Azmodan in an off lane? What do you want? Like, what do we need?
Okay.
Um, but usually I'll be showing one of the first heroes, um, the first wave of people showing, and often we'll pick up some of my strong heroes first. But I'm not locked into the idea of playing any specific hero at any time.
So say there is a one of our viewers is like a new mage player who's wanting to get into the scene, right? But they don't necessarily know all the tools or like all the best uses for every mage. If you were to give like a recommended like 3 mages for them to practice to cover as many bases as possible, which 3 would you pick?
In this meta, I think Jaina is easy to play. She's really strong. She's flexible. I would highly recommend Jaina. Um, Depending on the skill, as far as a new player just trying to get in, I would recommend some of the more difficult mages, the Orpheas, uh, the Krobi can be pretty tough. I would recommend maybe my top three. I would say Tassadar, Jaina, and KT.
Nice. And so in that case, it would be um, like Jane is kind of, particularly good at PvP. Um, Tests are kind of more towards the hybrid area, and then KT's better in the PvP area.
Yeah, KT still has a lot of wave clear too, but KT is one of those heroes. He's got AoE attacks. He's got a stun. If you build him the correct way, he's going to have a shield to get out of stuff. If you're not taking the shield, you're building him the incorrect way, by the way. Uh, Convection, that spicy convection pickup is a trap. It's mana addict. That's the way to go. But he could be built a couple different ways, whether it's living bombs to spread to the other team, or you can go the flame strike build. Double flame strikes is really easy to clear camps. Um, so there's some flexibility in Tassadar or in KT, and his stun is hard CC, which is lacking from the other two.
Interesting. I mean, all three of those mages are good ones because they can do the both. They can do both. So I think it's an insightful pickup as like start with these three because you could be PvP if your team needs it, or PvE as well.
Yeah.
A little.
No.
Go ahead.
I was just saying Valk says play Jaina because he wants Jaina tanks. It's his favorite. His favorite mage tank.
Jaina's a good hero. She's quite good. She teaches a lot of good principles as well.
Yeah, she's very good with positioning and teaching you that. If you step too far forward, you're in trouble.
In that vein of teaching, you earlier had mentioned that you weren't as good of a coach as your team thought you were. And I'd love if you could break that down for us before we dive a little deeper there.
I tried. I did my best. I tried to help fix people. I am flexible. I had a lot of experience in a lot of different heroes, and I could nudge people in directions when they needed to work on a healer, work on a tank. I'm not like a font of all knowledge. I would like to like refer to not Paradox, someone like that who's just he knows so much about the game. And um, for me, I knew a lot. I like to play heroes, um, and I could help people out, but I was not gonna take anyone to a high level as far as my personal education could go. I'm not a John Knight. I'm not a Veggies. I'm not one of these people that has these immense knowledge of the game. I'm just an enjoyer of the game. I'm an old man, really.
Well, how did that old manness maybe give you some wisdom about other things outside of the game to help the USU team be successful?
That was actually probably a good portion of what I could offer. Is I was a decade and some change older than these students. I'm 36 now, so I was 34 when I was coaching these kids. Um, I believe that was 2000, late 2008 into 2009. Um, but we also had like a esports. We at the time we had an esports class that was just starting up, and so we were trying to make an esports club. We were trying to work through the esports uh, genre and get the school involved in that. And part of that was Heroes of the Dorm. We had enough people playing Heroes of the Dorm in that class. So
Man, I would have loved that when I was in school.
Yeah, it was. I was glad that my work was paying for my schooling, and that was an easy class to get 3 credits. Um, but it was a good time, and I met lots of really cool people that I'm still friends with today. So
Well, on that note, that actually ties into a question from Valkmer in the podcast channel. So Valkmer asks, how has your experience on previous teams, such as USU, helped you as you became a member of CCS?
you know, CCS welcomed me in. I love these guys; they're my friends. Um, I think that I've had my moments where I've had to put aside my pride and try to better myself into the team as well. I've had to take criticism. I've offered my share of criticism too. But I think that um, that CCS has welcomed me in, and I've filled in a pretty decent flex portion of the team. Uh, CCS or USU's Heroes of the Dorm team was one point where I could try to get some coaching. I could step outside my comfort zone as far as that goes. I'm a very introverted person. Even interviewing this is outside my comfort zone, but
We're glad you're here.
yeah. So that was a chance to work as a team, and I've learned a lot from CCS. I think there are people here on CCS who have more knowledge than I do in tactics and researching and stuff like that. So each of us has our strengths, each of us has our weaknesses. None of us are flawless, or we would be on Storm League instead of C.
Oh, go ahead, Craig.
No, it's your go.
So I'm curious. You jumped onto CCS in about the time that they were you. So you did a season, at least one season with CCS in chair league, right? So this is like,
I would. I was not part of Chair League. I joined right after Chair League.
oh,
So
okay. So because you were on their roster, so you joined right after chair league. Then chair league went the way of everything else, or CCS stopped playing with them, and then you played in Heroes Lounge though with CCS. I'm curious, like CCS has now moved on from Heroes Lounge. Heroes Lounge today announced that they're not coming back to NA. I'm curious what's changed since on the team. Like, how has the team changed since those when you joined to now? Whether it's players changing, mindsets changing, what's different?
had some players fall off. RTB, for one of them, the one that introduced me to his family at CCS. He's been absent for a while. He's always welcome back if he ever decides to, if things settle down for him. He's a great guy. I think he's in graduate school and working as a intern, I believe. I'm not even sure on that one, but um, as far as it goes, when I joined, we had Valkymer, Witsend, Thorin, uh, Osprey, Silma, and RTB, and then I joined into that. Of those, the 5 of them are still there. Um, Depending on the season, some of our players have less time to play. We have people with that work during the tax season more, so it's harder for them to play. We have, uh, you know, but since then, a couple of people from that USU team have come and gone from CCS. There was Avocado, there's Deathshade, Madathy is still on the team and very valuable. We love her. She's fantastic. But I've seen several people come and go, and I'm just happy to play with some people that I enjoy the company of. You know,
That brings up something that I have personally been curious about. Because you guys have far more than 5 people rostered under CCS1. So has it ever like come game day and you have more than 5 people there? Like, does that ever cause scheduling issues? Like, who plays?
That does come up. It's come up more previously than it has recently. But even in this season, we've had 6 people show up, and Valkmer is very good about rotating people through. He will say, all right, we'll sit out Keladorn game 1, we'll sit out Thorin game 2, and we'll sit out Madathy game 3, if it comes to that. Whatever it may be. Um, we have some players. Valkmer is kind of our only really strong tank player as far as that goes. A lot of other players can flex through different roles. So, but we are good when we're adults. We're trying not to throw tantrums. Maybe someone does. Maybe I've personally felt hurt at times, but you move on. It's not something to let ruin your life. You know.
Without mentioning specifics, like what are some things that like, and you can just tell me to shove it, but like what are some vulnerabilities for you? Like in this team setting, you said you're an introvert. There's this the amazingness of CCS1 could also be a double-edged sword. What are some examples of things that might hurt you? I mean, hypothetical or actual?
So for me,
Yeah.
I know that my communication skills are lukewarm at best. I try to make I try to make a valiant effort to communicate, and even this last game when we were playing, this last team that we were playing, um, they said, "Hey, damage, we need to speak up on your targets." And while you know, uh, I am a damage player, I was as the Jaina, I believe, but I didn't take it personally. I just tried to. Uh, sorry, I'm reading Valk's chat. Um, I didn't try not to take it personally. I tried to step up. I tried to fill in that role. I wasn't the only damage player, so it was more about just communicating what we're doing, who we're looking at, what am I targeting, oh, who am I sending Walter after. Um, and Valkymer says that Stoic, you can shove it.
He's said that in many ways before, so I'm not surprised.
Something that's kind of come up a bit that I've noticed is kind of different from some of the other people that we've interviewed is this idea of, I guess, adulthood and maturity and um, like there have been people that we've talked to that for them, it very much is a game and their primary objective is to improve and get better. But like from the sound of it, it kind of sounds like um, it's more of a community thing, right? Like you were mentioning before, how um, you know you had to kind of get rid of some pride and like everyone kind of opening up and just giving honest criticism of each other, and it seems a lot more like a very tight knit social circle opposed to just some people playing a video game, right? Was there kind of like a moment for you that you remember sticking out where like it kind of became more than just playing a video game?
That's a very deep and poignant question, critics. For me, I spend 40 hours a week with a few people at work. I spend some time with the family. I'm, in my mid 30s. I don't live anywhere near where I grew up. And these guys have kind of become friends to me, more than just online people I play with. I like these guys a lot. I've said that to them at times, like friendships, meeting people, talking to people is in person is not my scene. I can do it, but I'm not there to open up and make friends. I'm there to do my job, whatever it may be. Um, so yeah, I think that CCS one is a very tight knit community. We have people like Valkymer who will go out and talk to everyone in the world and invite them into our circle. And he's made what do we got? 8, 9, 10 CCS teams? I don't. Yeah, there's so I think with what we have inactive, we're probably 6 or 7, with some inactive numbers. But um, no, with this group of people, I think we're really close, and I've considered them friends. I went to BlizzCon with Valkymer and Osprey, 2019, because 2020 was the year of COVID, but we hung out for a few days, and had a great time. So 8 and 6 active, BMed says. So yeah, I was close on those numbers.
Yeah, that sounds really awesome, and it's a shame that due to the current world circumstances, it's kind of harder to get together. Um, on the topic of working with other people, though, that ties into another question from Valkymer in chat. Um, in the podcast channel, he says, "I heard you may have broadcast a match alongside Not Paradox. Will you tell us that story?"
Yeah, so I specifically remember like our group texts. I was at work, I had my phone. Valkymer was like, "Oh, Not Paradox is looking for someone to cast tonight with him." And I hadn't had a lot of experience, but I went on. I was in his Discord. I said, "Hey, I'll cast with you now." Um, uh, he picked me up. We Not Paradox, again, very smart person, very knowledgeable about the game. I contributed my points here and there. Like he would ask me during the draft, who would you pick up on Battlefield of Eternity specifically? I said, Artanis is really strong here. Amateur opponent, he could be really good. Valo was probably out of the rotation at that point already. And he was like, yeah, good. That was a good pickup. And interestingly enough, I think that when I cast with Not Paradox was prior to. No, it wasn't prior to. Maybe it was during the same era. So maybe it was when I was coaching at USU and I was already invited to CCS, and we had a collegiate match against uh, another college team during that era that we pulled Not Paradox in to cast for the two college teams. So that was a lot of leverage there to try to it was yes, it was USU versus UNLV. Yes, it was a show match between the two teams, but there's a little bit of leverage there. He's still on my friends list, and I'll chat with him when he's casting something, and he knows me. I don't know how well he knows me, but acquaintances.
Yeah, he knows you. That's something. And the
So
casting the Aggies and the Rebels.
That's awesome. That actually does also tie into Wolf's question conveniently. Wolf asks who your favorite person to cast with is. Is it Not Paradox? Is it someone else?
So I haven't cast a lot of games right now, and I'm trying to get into that. That's personal goal. I've had to try to step outside my comfort zone in personal, um, my personal life. My job has changed, and I'm going to have to communicate with people more and be more front facing at times. And so I've taken up to try to cast some games in NGS. I've co-casted twice ever. One time with Not Paradox and one time with D. And I've cast one game myself. I'm signed up for 2 more. So if anyone wants to co-cast with me, you're welcome to. Monday nights, 7 p.m. Pacific, I believe. The next 2 Mondays. But if I had to pick of the 2 people I've casted with, it would be Not Paradox. As much as I love D.
I'd love so the new foray into casting, because it looks like just about 2 weeks ago your YouTube channel and your Twitch channel really started popping. And is it the primary motivation here? Is it like just as a practice, or is there like gonna be some like continual effort there? Like, are you looking to get a following on Twitch, or is this really just like the just for you kind of deal?
You know, I wouldn't mind a following. I wouldn't mind getting affiliated. I need just a few more followers to get affiliated, I think. Um, it's not going to be a life goal for me. My I know if I started streaming full-time Twitch, I would have to be a huge caster to make up for what I make in real life. My job pays me well. Um, I need health insurance for my family. So I don't expect to make a living off Twitch, but it would be a mild to moderate hobby that I would love to get into. And I have an 11-year-old kid who wants to be a streamer on YouTube and stuff like that. So if I could get him into the game, maybe he could become a streamer. You never know. He just enjoys his Roblox and Minecraft and Among Us right now. So
Last week we talked to Dagny about his experience, with his young children and video games. But with what you just shared, it'd be fascinating to have the father-son casting duo. I mean, how cool would that be? Like Kelledorn and Kelledorn Jr. casting matches for NGS.
be really cool. He's a great kid and I love him. And I would support him anything he wants to do. I'm going to be a supportive father for him. He wants to try to make YouTube videos or TikTok or whatever. Why not? Kids are kids. He's 11. We've been playing games together for a while. Uh, his tag is it's not on BMed, but it's oh now I have to look it up. What is his tag? It is cat. Oh, I don't remember now. His tag is cat43. He likes cats, and then he picked 43 as his number.
I love it.
So
I love it.
why not? We have two cats. One of them is my wife's, and one of them's his. But he at one point he had his nickname was Keladorn Jr. when we were playing games together. He's had a few nicknames that he's gone through. He hasn't settled, I think, on his long-term name yet.
So that kind of ties into an interesting question. Where did the name Kelledorn come from?
So early on I shouldn't say even that early on. I played a lot of MMOs with my older brother and my dad growing up. We started playing Meridian 59, which is a game that probably no one has ever heard of. I'd be surprised if anyone on stream or any of you guys had heard of it. Pre Ultima Online, Meridian 59 was like a first person kind of Doom type thing, and you go around different maps, you'd kill different. It was an MMO style thing, so you'd move through different areas, kill monsters, get experience, whatnot. And it wasn't until we moved to EverQuest, my sibling and my dad. Kelledorn was a randomly generated name for a hero I made. Numadar was the other one that I remember, but Kelledorn kind of stuck with me, and I just started using it about 20 years ago, and I just held on to it. So
I'm curious. Someone like Brainer loves to use people's first names, and the CCS1 squad has been together for so long. You've met each other in person. Most of you live in the same state. Are you guys screen name users or first name users?
all of the above. I don't think that we differentiate. I think that we can say, I'm John, we have Selma who's Sean. Sometimes that can be confusing, but Valkymer and Russell are the same person to me. We use both their names. And in that, it's and it's not distinct between the names. It's just the same as far as I'm concerned. So I'll call people whoever they want to go by. I'll call you Billy Bob Thornton if you want. Whatever you want to be called.
How'd you know my real name?
Like you guess.
Good guess. Interesting. And so when you went to BlizzCon with Russell and Alden, did you call them Oss and Valk, or was it always Russ and Alden?
I'll be both. I mean, I wouldn't distinctly
Yeah.
separate the two.
Cool. That's
Um,
awesome.
Something I'm curious about. We asked, um, Stoic kind of hinted at this earlier, um, about fatherhood and kind of the overlaps between that and gaming. Um, so I guess there's kind of two questions. They're kind of inverse. Um, how, like, is there anything in particular, like a moment in gaming that's kind of, because I mean you've been playing games for quite a while now, that's kind of affected, um, like your parenting style in any way, like anything that's kind of like any life lessons or anything you've learned that's kind of changed your outlook towards parenting, and then the inverse of that, anything from being a parent that's kind of changed your outlook towards gaming.
you know, um, I think I wouldn't say there's anything from gaming that has influenced my parenting style. I have a desire to share my love for gaming with my child, and introduce him to some of my favorite games. We've played through Mario Odyssey together. We've played through, uh, I've introduced him to games that I love. He beat Super Mario RPG Legend of the Seven Stars, except for getting stuck at one point, which I helped him through. He made most of that game himself. I've tried to impart some of my loves, and he's blown some of them off, and he's clinged onto some, as far as that goes. So, uh, I just my goal as a parent is to make sure my kid's happy and healthy and knows that he's loved. That's if those things I've accomplished at the end of the day, if he's happy, healthy, and knows that he's loved, then that then my goals for a parent is I'm parenting them right. Um, yes, Super Mario RPG is a great game, uh, Valcomer. But I remember one time, when he was like 3 years old, he picked up a Wii controller and was playing the original Super Mario ROM downloaded onto the Wii, and he got to 1, 2, and he was so excited. But I share that with him. We play Among Us. We have a good time. And as far as the inverse, I think that patience, being a parent, has taught me a lot of patience. I've had a temper before in the past, um, that was well tempered before I became a parent. But you exercise that muscle as a parent a lot, is learning more patience. And so I try to. Uh, I think that has helped me, in these games when someone's being really salty. I try not to be as salty as much in games. I try to be less awful of a person when I get mad, and just be patient with who I'm playing with, and let's recover. Let's get back on track. Sometimes there's matches you can't save. I had one of those today, but you know, as far as what it's given me, I think patience and uh, self-reflecting, as far as a parent, has helped me in gaming.
Do you have any plans to introduce your kid to Heroes of the Storm?
I would love nothing more for him. He's not shown any interest, and I won't force it upon him. One thing I do want to do in the next couple of years, hopefully after COVID goes away, is I want to take him to our local gaming store and just like Magic the Gathering draft with him and introduce him to that. That was I was his age when I was playing Magic the Gathering in the alpha, beta, unlimited series back in the day. As I was fourth, fifth grade, right there, playing with friends. So I would love to just take him to the game store. Let's introduce him to Magic the Gathering. I don't play actively, but just something to do together. I'm not in it for the money. I'm not in it to win tournaments or anything like that. I just that connection with my son would be very important for me.
You mentioned before that you'd played this MMO with your brother and your father. Did you play Magic with your dad back in the alpha beta days?
Not the alpha beta days. I was the first introduction into Magic. I played with some friends at school. My dad and my brother both started in like the third, fourth edition Legends era. Uh, the the snow one. I don't remember the snow one was called now, but they joined me in playing those games. And my dad was really into it, and my dad was had the money source to play really well. Um, Ice Age, yes, Ice Age, that's the one. So the third edition, fourth edition, revised, Ice Age, Legends era, uh, and we had a lot of fun together. We played Magic the Gathering, we played Star Trek card game, we played the Star Wars card game, trading card games when they were there. Um, a lot of good memories there.
Do
My
you
dad,
go ahead?
go ahead.
No, no, no.
I
I
was just
was
saying, my dad passed away 2 years ago, so it's a good memory to have of those times with him, and I want to share those times with my son. So
I was just gonna ask if this experience with your father has kind of like you're passing this gaming on, whether it be physical or video.
yeah, yeah, that would be. I kind of want to have that same connection, just enjoy gaming, playing with my son, have those connections. And my dad briefly tried to play HOTS as his health was declining. I remember him sergeant hammering up into. I'd be like, I'd pick a tank and just try to defend him as he would sergeant hammer down a wall. Good times. So,
Yeah, man. I'm a broken record, but like I love Zelda and I love StarCraft because those are the games that I played with my dad. So definitely hits
you
home there.
know, and my son, I'm a Zelda fan as well. I have at least a dozen Zelda T-shirts in my closet. Uh, my son has beat Breath of the Wild upwards, backwards, forward, upside down. He's turned the hell out of that game. There's my second swear. Uh, he would beat Lionel's for fun. He'd be like, all right, let me teach you, Dad, how to beat Lionel's. He played that game to death and he loved it. And he's excited for the second one, whenever that may come out, knock on wood. So, we tried to do my favorite one, which was the uh, Link to the Past. He couldn't quite get into Link to the Past the same way that Breath of the Wild drew him in, but you know,
That's the same with Summer. Summer has played so much Breath of the Wild, but every time she looks at the older Zelda games, she's like, "They're so ugly. Why would I play this? Why would I play this when I can play Breath of the Wild?"
you know, even recently there was the 3DS quote unquote sequel, A Link Between Worlds. I loved that game. That was such a good game. It's so underrated, but it's just that memory of the Link to the Past of the SNES era. Um, B-Bed, I'm gonna be honest with you. Skyward Sword, I could not get into. That's the one failure I would say as a Zelda game that I could not push through.
Ooh, a failure of a Zelda game.
It was it. I played like 15 hours into it, and I could never actually quite enjoy it. I never enjoyed that game.
Spicy.
I mean, we're not a Zelda stream here, but if I had to choose the weakest console game, Skyward Sword is probably my first one to pick.
Really?
I mean, okay, well, Corinne, what's your like handhelds aside, just console Zelda games from The Legend of Zelda to Breath of the Wild, and discounting things like Hyrule Warriors and Age of Calamity and Link's Crossbow Training, like main series. What would you say
We
is the
can we
worst?
can drop two too. Like you can't include Zelda 2. That was something so different.
So I'm gonna drop an even hotter take. The only Legend of Zelda game that I've played start to finish is Breath of the Wild.
Really?
Yeah,
That's not that hot of a take.
I haven't liked any of the other
Oh,
ones.
you've played them all and hated them all?
Oh, stamp.
Yeah.
What the
Like
heck?
I wish the remake. Sorry, we're getting kind of off topic here. We'll get back to HOTS. I wish Skyward Sword remake was Twilight Princess remake. That's all.
Yeah. Or they would have done them both. Like, just do them both. Ugh.
Hmm.
Why? Por qué no los dos?
Yeah,
But
por
all
qué
right,
no los dos?
HOTS. Let's get back to
Yeah.
HOTS.
So we'll use some community questions here to get back on topic. So, question from Osprey. A Blizzard developer is a huge fan of your award-winning one-man show, Emperor's New Groove, the musical. She wants to design a new hero in your honor. Which character from Emperor's New Groove would you ask to be put into HOTS?
Oh man.
I knew there's some ulterior motive there. HOTS. Oh, he was asking me all these suspicious questions. Um, Definitely Krunk. Krunk is the best character in Emperor's New Groove. No questions asked. Um, Played by Patrick Warburton. His own theme music. He could hide against walls. He could magically find where he is on a map. Oh, am I lagging? I don't show.
Oh yeah, your video's lagging. But
I
we
can
can
hear
still
you,
hear
but
you.
the video seems to be.
Kronk is the poster boy for what is a himbo. That's fair. Uh,
So you mentioned being stealth near walls. What would the rest of his kit look like? That's a very unique concept.
um, I don't know. You're you're
Fair enough.
so far out there. So
Sorry, go on.
yeah, I can see myself frozen in the stream.
Yeah, I'm not sure what's going on there.
Yeah, I don't want to touch anything because we've had some bad days today. So we're not. You might be frozen for life here. Oh
Uh,
no! Wait.
Oh, that was me. Can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Can hear you. Oh,
I'm back.
camera has been restored.
Wait, I don't see the camera though.
We
Oh,
can see the
stream.
camera. Stream can't see the camera.
Oh, boom! Stream can see camera. All right. Technical difficulties will end one of these
Oh,
days.
there we go. Okay, cool. In the same vein as the last question. Well,
Is it
similar
is it
vein.
about the two teams, or is it about the three? What was it? The three. Now I have to ask. Now I have to look at what he asked me. Go ahead. You can ask it.
So Osprey asks, who would each of your teammates be in the Teen Titans?
Yeah, I don't think that has anything to do with HOTS. Oh, let's see. Um, then he's gonna ask about bands next, isn't he?
Only time will tell.
My Teen Titans teammates would be. It's a variety show. It would be Alden Zero, the robot know-it-all. I don't. And his third question has to do with the bands he probably asked me about. Huh. Oh yeah, he's definitely Cyborg. Alden Zero. No, you don't get to be Beast Boy, Alden.
Interesting. I'm interested here in Wolf's less serious question as we venture into variety show. We'll get back on track here. If your whole team was on Survivor, the whole roster, CCS one edition, all 9 of you guys, who would be the winner and why?
This TV show Survivor, based off of it being still about to survive in the wild.
Yeah, screw all the drama. Let's just go right for the punch. It's Naked and Afraid. All 9 of you. Naked and Afraid. Who lives? Who dies?
Valkymer.
And who taps out?
Valkymer, I think, would win Survivor. I think he has the personality, the authoritarian to work through alliances, and I loved watching Survivor with my family. Valkymer definitely wins Survivor. Alden might sneak in at the end, pretending to be dragged there, but then try to pull off the win for getting people to vote for him.
Okay, there we go. Who would live if it was like not even a TV show, just raw man versus wild?
Thorin. I don't have a reason why. He's younger than the rest of us, significantly younger. So I think that Valkyber could do well in the wild, but his social skills of being able to talk through anything and everything would not benefit him if he was naked and alone in the wild.
Yeah.
Fair enough. To kind of reel this back into the hot stock, and also to get at Wolf's other question, you had kind of talked earlier about some things you were talking about with CCS1's drafting, getting people to show picks and stuff. So Wolf asks, if you were allowed to control an NGS draft, what would it look like?
I was allowed to control an NGS draft. Oh, I don't like to make those decisions. That's not my role. I think that I can contribute ideas, but if it were left up to me, I would rather not take that role on. I think I would draft something very boring, some standard Joe tank, meta healer, depending on what the rest of the build was. Depending on the map, a map appropriate bruiser. I don't think I would draft anything spicy. Like I'd want to go Malthael or Zool on Towers of Doom, or perhaps Dahakra on Dragon Shire. I wouldn't put any spice into my draft.
Okay. Well, how about in recent times? Do you have a favorite draft that CCS1 has pulled out in NGS or in scrims?
I think that we are trying to work on a blow-up comp. I think that we could get there where we're going to be good with it. I think we need to synergize it more, but I would love for us to get something spicy on the books. I know that there are some other CCS teams like CCS2. They can choke all that everyone doesn't want to play against them. And we've had some success with Juice Pirates as well. That's always fun. It's just fun to play, whether you win or lose. If you're just QMing or unranked draft into a Warhead Junction or something, just end it as quickly as possible and have some fun with Juice Pirates.
There's an interesting question I have for follow up there. Because I've also I've played the unranked draft with you guys. We get Warhead, we roll Juice Pirates, and there is something undescribably fun about that. Like, what is it, and why is that missing from other drafts? Like, why doesn't every map and every draft feel as fun as not Warhead, that map sucks, as a Juice Pirates draft?
Because it's so not serious. You aren't taking yourself seriously if you're doing Juice Pirates. You're not playing the best draft that you can possibly get. You're not playing your best heroes. You just want to cheese someone. You want to end it quickly. And you're not upset if you lose. Like, if you Juice Pirates and it fails and they push in and you win. You're like, it's still over. We're not playing Blackheart's Bay anymore. Whatever. Let's move on with life. Um, that's what I think about Juice Pirates is we've slipped it in a couple of times into practices and really pissed other people off. It's not fun to play against, but you don't take it seriously when you're playing it. Uh, that's my opinion. It's just let's have some fun. Let's screw around.
Hmm. Interesting. I'm just like wishing now you've got. I'm gonna think about this all week. This idea of like, it's so fun and like I wonder like what I could do to still be try hard because you're always trying to win. You're not trying to throw. But like
No, you're not.
what you could do to keep that just almost elation, right? It's just like level 10 comes and everyone is just itching to jump in the boat and run it down. Um, I'm just trying to think like what could be done to bring that into every QM and every NGS match.
Oh, I don't know if you could ever do it in QMs. QMs are so sporadic with what you get.
Mm-hmm.
It's you have one player that tilts in QM and just gets salty and just spews toxic vomit all over the place, for lack of a better word. Um, but I think part of that there is we love to try hard. We're always going to try to win. But Juice Pirates is that fun little romp into you're going to go off-roading, you're going to go somewhere, explore something new, you're going to do something that's not normal that you wouldn't normally be expecting to do, and you're going to try to win with it. You're trying to do your best still to the end, but it's it's that road never taken. It's something that you're just going to have fun with. That's my experience with it, at least.
Hmm. I just like I'll come back and I'll let you know when I find it, like how to have the
Okay.
magic, how to have because like HOTS has become a hobby. Like it's a game, it's a hobby, it's something now more than a hobby for me and for many of us. And some days do feel more grindy than they do that. Just like the joy of like, oh, that's a sanct, and that sucks because we're attacking your core and there's nothing you can do about it. I want to find that answer.
You can always pull in like an Illidan dancing around that core. No one's able to stop him. He's flipping around. He's
Mm.
he's dodging all the attacks. There are some things that can be built like that. But and maybe it's just me is I do like to try hard. I like to get serious and have some fun, but I get burned out if I'm just trying hard all the time. If you know, it's the same thing at work. If you're pushing for the best at work, you can't sit back and relax and talk to coworkers and have a good time. But for me, the Juice Pirates is the water cooler talk. We're just like, what did you do this weekend? Oh, cool. Wow, that sounds like fun. It's you're taking a break from the real try hard and just trying something else.
Hmm. So maybe it's like a I shouldn't even try. I might ruin a good thing by trying to
I
to
think
mess up the water cooler.
I think you don't look too much into the Juice Pirates. That's just me. If you're trying to pull it every time, you're going to not enjoy it as much when you actually get to do it.
Okay, fair. That's a good point. I think there's leave it on the shelf as something beautiful that comes out once in a while.
Yeah. On the topic of things you don't enjoy, do you have any like blatant pet peeves or just things that you see pretty often in game that are just kind of like annoy you or get on your nerves?
I, for me, I hate when people stop trying. So if I'm playing a QM, Storm League, anyone who just says, "All right, I'm done. I'm stop playing." I play my heart out to the very end of each match, even if I'm feeling salty, even if I'm pissed off at my teammates. I will play the hell out of that match to the best of my abilities. And when I don't see people putting in that same effort, that are like 5 minutes into the match, or calling GGs and wandering around and doing camps as healers or whatever, that's my biggest pet peeve. Just if you're not going to play the game, don't play the game.
Oh man, I'm having like a reaction thinking about all of this Abathurs that just like AFK or just like Z into their base just to run it down to die. Oh man.
I think I could say that everyone here in chat probably has experienced those games. Um, I don't play this game to just give up. If I was going to play a game where I could give up, I'd go play League of Legends or Dota, and you can fold into your game. Both those games have a forfeit mechanism. There's a reason HOTS doesn't, and it's HOTS games aren't as long. You're not waiting. You're not taking an hour to play one game on HOTS. You're going to play 15 to 25 minutes. Play your heart out for that time. Don't give up 5 minutes in. And it's like I said earlier, it's a game of comebacks. I one game I remember specifically playing. We were down to one keep, and we had 5% on our core on Tomb of the Spider Queen. They had two of their forts and all three keeps, and we still came back and won. It's always possible. It's a game of comebacks. Play your heart out, win.
It's true. It's true. I love it. I love those stories, and like the fact that you can is so like there's something so special. Like even if you were to almost come back and almost win, it still feels good to like have almost pulled off that comeback. Even better when you actually do come back from the 5% on the core.
Oh, I love that. Like you get so close, you get that. You're like, oh, you're almost there, and it's even being denied that comeback. You're still like, look how good we did, though. Look how close we were. We made progress. So
It's interesting that you bring that up, because I've heard arguments that from the other side of the aisle, right? You win all game and then you make one mistake and the enemy team just beats you. That it can feel kind of bad. Like, have you ever had experiences like that where it's like, oh man, comeback mechanics suck?
yeah, I've had experiences like that where we've been ahead, you make a mistake, you lose, but it's not a fun experience to lose on that side of the aisle. But you recognize that's the game. That's how this game works. You give the other team props for your own screw up. You say, hey, I screwed up. What can I do to not screw up next time? What is my positioning going to be? Where can I do better? Can I check that bush with a ability instead of face checking it and dying? You use those experiences to further your improvement in the game. That's my opinion.
You've opened a can of worms here. What's your relationship with replay reviews, either as a team, personally? How do you do them? How often do you do them, and what do you think about them?
This recently, CCS is trying to do one a week, and we're taking turns each hosting one. I did the one last week for one of our games. We are kind of looking at what we tried to do, where our failures were, pausing at certain points, saying, okay, look, we're overstepping here. We're moving too far forward. We're chasing them, and trying to improve on those aspects of it. I think that there's some value in that. There's some value in acknowledging your mistakes, and not to just like beat someone up, but just to say, here's a mistake. What are we going to do next time in this situation? How do we improve? So I wouldn't use them to just crush someone's spirit. I think it's useful to just quickly touch on mistakes and address them and move on. So
Go ahead, Chris.
It's interesting that you bring it up, because I know that I've scrimmed CCS1 when I was on CCS4 and on CCS5, and I can definitely tell like there's improvement happening there. And Brainer said something similar, that he's been scrimming you, or CCS2 has been playing you guys quite a bit, and that he's noticing you guys are getting a lot better really quickly. Do you guys feel like, is that kind of the air in the room, that you guys are feeling like, yeah, we're making a lot of improvement, or do you feel like
I
there's still more to be done?
I think there's more to be done. I think that we are improving. I think we're getting some useful experience into some of these. I believe it was against, I want to say it was against CCS2 that we scrimmed that I really enjoyed my auto attack Tassadar. I think they banned it out uh, the next game, but I think that yeah, we are looking to improve. We're not looking to just drop off and end things, but we can try to work out some of our bugs. Looking for a dive comp, looking for CCS1 really does well in the macro game. The macro maps tend to be where we are very strong and favored. But it would be nice to just have a blow up dive comp that we can pull out and throw at someone.
You've brought up this dive comp, this idea of a dive comp twice now. I'm curious, what in your mind is standing between where CCS1 is now and, as you call it, having a dive comp?
Um, so we experienced against Clouded Minds in our last NGS game. They just kind of really worked at a blow up dive kill our team comp. Um, we want to get something like that. We do have like a little pick comp where we've worked through some bugs with a Varian and like a Stukov or a Malfurion to just kill a player, move around the map, get a pick, and then take advantage of stuff there. Um, I think it's just some of it's communication, some of it is comfort of certain heroes being played. We're trying to work through it, and I'm not quite sure what's holding us back, but hopefully we find it soon.
Interesting. So it's a mix. It's somewhat a mix of like how the heroes fit together, and then who's doing what job on which heroes, and how you communicate that. I was just curious, like if it meant specifically, like, oh, we don't have anyone that plays Varian, which I know Valk does. I was just curious to go a little deeper. So interesting.
So, so yeah, I would say our Varian comp is more of like just get one pick and get advantage in that. One pick and back out, or one pick and hold the point. Like we're not chasing down people, but we want just like one of those engage and just destroy everything, destroy all everything. Someone set us up with a bomb, kind of thing. Um, with like a gravel bomb with a bunch of damage follow up, something like that. So we're trying to find that right now.
Hmm. Interesting. It's a little bit of wombo action.
Yeah.
I know that we've kind of gone all over the place as far as like timeline goes. Um, for anyone who may have like joined in the chat late, could you just give us like a TLDR sort of like of your very like beginnings of HOTS to current, as far as like teams you've played on, and tournaments you've played in and stuff?
Yeah, for anyone that joined late, I've played the other MOBAs, League of Legends, Dota, just casually. Uh, I found HOTS, and once I started playing HOTS, the other ones felt boring to me. Um, I played I worked with our collegiate team at my local college, USU, and setting up an esports club, and we briefly had a Heroes of the Dorm team before that fell apart, and I've been with CCS1 ever since. For that would be 2.5 years now, almost three. So um, I liked it a lot. You know, I think that if things didn't work out, I'm not object to looking for another team. I do really like where I am. I'm not against it either, and I would consider these guys friends. They're friends to me still. We see that with people who may have moved on to like Phoenix Rising.
Well, this is where my family's at, so this is where I hang out.
I gotta throw that in there, Stoic.
I'm an imposter.
You're part of the CCS family, and I think that's CCS. That will be CCS, and that's not going to change.
Interesting. So I mean, what is next? Like, I'm curious. Like, you've weathered the storm of Heroes of the Dorm dying and HGC dying, as we all are still here from that. Like, let's say that like NGS shuts down, and Valkymer and Wits get pissed. And they're like, you know what, we're done with CCS. What's next for you? Do you look for another MOBA? Do you start like a SSC Discord and try and build Wexomania?
I see. If for me, Grin is dying over there. For me, I think that if NGS were to die and Heroes Lounge were to die, that kind of stuff happening, I think that the brothers would step up and try to start their own thing. I think that you could see anyone that knows Valkymer could see him picking that hill to die on with the game. Like, he is not gonna let that go. He's gonna make Nexomania, Wexomania, Flexomania.
Flexomania, I love it.
He's not gonna let that die until the game is dead. So, for me, I'll be along for the ride. Let's have fun.
I like it. So we're kind of coming up on our 90-minute mark here that you mentioned at the start, Stoic. Was there any questions that you were like prepared to answer that we didn't answer?
That we didn't ask.
Or didn't ask? Apparently it's too late for me to.
It's past our bedtime.
I'm not one to prepare. As far as it goes, I've prepared for personal job interviews, and I hated it, but that made me successful in some of these job interviews. For me, I just like shooting from the hip. That's how I play HOTS too. I will play whatever you need me to play. You want me to play Jaina that beat that dead horse? I will. I just have fun. I'm here for the ride, and I appreciate you guys meeting with me and inviting me to this.
Yeah, Kelledorn, it was a blast. I mean, I'm glad too. I mentioned this to Kelledorn, before we started. That like, I've played with you a ton over the last year, but like, this is like the first time I've like seen your face, and we've like had chats about like, I had no idea you did you're an Aggie, and you did some coaching up there. Hadn't the foggiest, but now we know, and that's what this is all about. Community chat show coming in clutch. Dang it, that doesn't have CCS, but I wished. Well, I guess we can close out the show then. Kelledorn, you've been a great guest. I just am now repeating myself that I've learned some new things. We've learned some new things. You've taught us some stuff as well. Next week's guest is unannounced yet. We'll confirm that tomorrow and announce it in the Discord, so stay tuned for that.
Do you want to make any shout-outs, Kelledorn?
Oh, yeah, good call. Oops.
Oh,
I think you might be muted.
Can you hear me now? There it goes.
Oh, there we go. Yeah.
There we go.
Yep. Shout-outs to Valk's mom, of course, because it's not CCS unless we shout out Valk's mom.
Of course.
CCS 1. Thank you guys for inviting me along. Anyone that listened to me rambled on, I hope that we were at least entertaining. And shout outs to this community. The CCS community has grown, and it's molded into something completely new. We're here making a chat show. Like, who the hell ever expected this? There's my third swear. You can cut me off.
Stream
I,
over.
I didn't expect it a year ago, you know, but here we are. We're having fun and we're doing something new, and we're doing these like community nights, and we're doing the teaching, and shout out to Valkymer for putting all this crap together and just trying to keep the game alive. Like he loves this game so much, like more than me. I like the game, but this man has put blood, sweat, and tears into some of this stuff, and he's there's not words. It's impressive. I don't have that kind of energy.
Yeah,
Crap's not a swear word.
it is true. I mean, CCS is amazing. It's crazy. I mean, and your call out to me for for playing for PR is warranted. But like, here I am chilling with the community chat show.
And for me, it wasn't about like a jab at you. It was like you're still welcome here. You're still a part of the community, and that's how CCS is. And it wasn't intended to be. And I hope I didn't come off that way, Stoic.
No,
I apologize.
No jab, no offense taken, of course.
It was just like that's who CCS is. And if I found another team to play for, I'd still be welcomed here with open arms, and that's just this community, and the community is something amazing. It's something special. It really is.
Agreed. It really is. Yeah, and Kelledorn, you're part of that too. Like you're one of the OGs. One of the OGs to build up this community to be where it is. I don't think it would be the same thing that it is today if it weren't for you. I mean, that's true of everybody, but like as an OG, that's especially true for you.
Maybe. I think that like I'm the type of person that's just chill and along for the ride. I'm here to enjoy the scenery. So,
well, those kind of people fill the bus with good vibes. So we're happy you're here with us.
I bring the good vibes. I will admit that. So.
Good. We felt those good vibes. And chat, thank you guys for bringing the vibes and being here, hanging out, and asking questions. If you have a suggestion, someone you'd like to see come on the show, you can drop those in the podcast suggestions or questions. If you have questions or suggestions for our next guest, drop them there as well. Make sure to throw Kelledorn a follow on his new Twitch channel so that he can get an affiliate, twitch.tv/Kelledorn. You can go subscribe to him on YouTube as well. Catch his cast on Monday night on the NGS, as well as next Monday as well. You can find him there. You can find him on Twitter at Kelledorn as well. You can follow me, but if you're here, it's probably because you're following me already. And to everybody else, we'll hope you have a great night. I'm forgetting something. Oh, no, I didn't forget to shout out Valk's mom because Kelledorn did that. It wouldn't be CCS1 if it wasn't. Corinne, what else am I supposed to say? I've forgotten.
I think we're good.
All right, that's it, everybody. Thank you so much for coming. We will catch you guys next week, same time, same place. Bye.
Adios.